So, welcome to Northern Powerhouses, our business success stories series of interviews, where we discuss with local business leaders their backgrounds, their successes, and their challenges, and what's really driving them forwards. And today, I'm delighted to have with us Jeff Dunn, who's an insurance broker at Lantern Risk Services. So, firstly, Jeff, thank you so much for spending a bit of time with us. And if you'd like to introduce yourself, Lantern, what you do, how you help people, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, no problem at all. Firstly, thanks for having me on the podcast, Chris. It's excellent to be here. So my name's Jeff Dunn. I'm an insurance broker. I've been advising businesses for the last 45 years. I'll
Wow.
say that again, 45 years. Where's
Wow.
the time? Where's the time gone?
Wow.
So I've partnered with a couple of guys at Lantern Risk Services, and I love that name because it shines a light
Yeah.
on the whole concept of protection
Yeah.
relating to a business.
Brilliant.
And you normally would think of the word protection related to financial services like life assurance, that
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Yeah.
But we are in the middle of the general insurance world.
Yeah.
And basically, I like advising business owners on the best way to protect their staff, themselves in business,
Yeah.
the business itself,
Yeah.
and the assets of the business. And
Brilliant.
Chris, you wouldn't believe it, but probably about 9 out of 10 businesses are underinsured, and
Yeah.
about 9 out of 10 businesses don't, on an annual basis, sit down with someone like myself, my colleagues, or indeed, and just another insurance broker to get advice. So
Yeah.
no wonder they're perpetually underinsured because they're not sitting down with anyone. So
Yeah.
my job satisfaction comes from advising people, whether they take my advice, which they usually do, I'm pleased to say, um, is entirely up to them. But the get out of bed thing for me is knowing that I've given people the right advice. So I'll
Brilliant.
pause there if I could.
Brilliant. And what would you say makes a great client for you? What were the ones that you really serve best and get best benefit from working with you?
Well, I can contradict myself here because there's two parallels. There's the self-employed person who is on their own
Yeah.
or has one or two staff.
Yeah.
Um, and then at the other end of the scale, you could have someone who's a precision engineer, got a precision engineering company with 50 staff on the shop floor, maybe typically 10 in the office environment, bringing the
Yeah.
orders in.
Yeah.
And I like both scenarios.
Yeah.
Um, my uh, sweet spot probably is any business with 5 or more staff. And that's not a magic number, Chris. It's just at the point where things start necessarily to be complex, but things need to be thought through just a little bit more.
Yeah.
So I quite like that challenge.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Jeff, just as you were talking then, the mic seemed to go quite are you using a mic or is it just your laptop?
It's built in. It's built in.
Oh, okay. It's just that you went quite muffled for a little while and then you came back again. But if it's built in, then that's absolutely fine.
I'll lean in a bit.
Yeah, it might be that. It might be worth. Yeah, so it's just worth doing that. No, cool. Okay, brilliant. Um, so Jeff, if maybe we start by asking you to tell us a little bit about your background, how you got into business, and why this particular one for you.
Yeah. Well, it's a bit like an ancient history lesson, considering how long I've been in the industry. And
Brilliant.
I was doing my Duke of Edinburgh Gold Award, and there was a residential. I can't remember if it was a weekend or a week or whatever, but there was a residential element to it with other people doing the same thing. And during that time period, we had a talk from somebody from what was Midland Bank, now
Right.
HSBC,
Yes, of course.
someone from what was Northern Rock Building Society,
Yep.
I think was acquired by Virgin Money eventually after the government bailed them out.
Yep.
And there was somebody from an insurance brokerage in Morpeth in Northumberland, lovely part of the world.
Yep.
Um, the brokerage was called Clark and Dixon. I can always remember that. Anyway, the guy from Clark and Dixon gave us a talk on what a noble profession insurance broking was.
Yep.
Person from Midland Bank said how good they were at banking, and the person from Northern Rock said how good they were at savings and mortgages. But don't you all worry about that. That's years off from where you guys are now. So I have two elder sisters, and I didn't do badly at school, but I didn't do as well as was expected by the teachers. So by the
Yep.
skin of my teeth, I was allowed to stay on into the sixth form. And over the summer months, my two sisters whispered in my ear, "Look, great that you're staying on, but Mrs. Thatcher's closed the coal mines with
Yep.
Ian McGregor, and the shipyards are struggling.
Yep.
Um, in 2 years' time, your A levels are only going to be worth what your O levels are worth.
Yep.
So, in tandem with doing your A levels, why don't you apply for jobs?" So, I applied for a job, got an interview. So, I missed the first day of sixth form. They rang the school on the Tuesday saying, "Can Jeff go back on the Wednesday for final interview?" And I went back on the Wednesday, and a lovely gentleman called Jack Guy from General Accident Insurance Company said, "You're not the most qualified person we've got, but I can see a huge drive, focus, and determination in you, and I'm prepared to take a chance on you."
Yep.
And without getting mushy with you, Chris, I owe that guy everything,
Brilliant. Brilliant.
absolutely everything. He got me into the industry, and he's long gone now, unfortunately, but um, he lived a good life actually after he retired. Um, but yeah, I owe him everything.
Brilliant. Well, wowzers. So that's and almost the rest is history, as they say. But looking back over your career, what are some of the biggest issues and challenges that you've had to overcome, Jeff?
Um, I think the only with the benefit of that's a killer question. So thanks for asking it. Not,
Ah,
but the main one I think, but only with the benefit of hindsight, is the transition from the analog world and the manual world
yep.
into, suppose you would call it, digital
Yep.
environment and automated processes.
Yes.
And obviously, AI is now
Yep.
um, progressing with shall I say, an alarming rate,
It certainly is.
and probably won't um, touch me negatively before I hang my boots up, as it were, in terms of my career. But um, I think the for me, it's gone from having to go around the houses to do any process in insurance
Yep.
to within reason. Once you understand the risk, the coverage offered by all insurers is broadly similar.
Yep.
Um, it's just a case of how you package that up for the client in
Yes.
terms of because a commercial insurance client can have 5 or 6 different policies, each designed to cover off a specific risk or element of risk.
Yep.
Um, and before, it would have been a torturous process to do that. And now, it's not without its challenges, but it's easier.
Yeah.
So in summary, to answer your question, I think the progression of technology and processes um, over the years has greatly helped things. There's one other thing, if I may, and that is because of the Financial Services Act originally, which is now the FCA, Financial Conduct Authority,
Yep.
um, the uh, protection offered to the buyer of insurance is wonderful. Now, it would have been easy as a salesperson at heart to feel a bit bitter and twisted that, my God, you actually have to offer the customer best advice,
Yes.
not just quote unquote line your pockets.
Yep. Brilliant.
Um, but I'm actually proud that I work in such a regulated environment because
Yep.
my clients know, or by the time I finished with them, they know that they've been correctly advised.
Brilliant.
Everything is documented, not just for myself, obviously, but the wider industry. Everything is documented. So, if I got shot by a sniper, um, someone could pick up the file that I've been advising a client on and see exactly where I'm up to, because there's an audit trail from the
Brilliant.
moment I become involved with the client,
Yeah,
uh, literally for as long as they remain with me.
brilliant. Brilliant. No, that's that. Yeah, it's great as you say. I think regulation and the whole compliance world it supports great advisors, and it sort of weeds out some of the less what's the right word would be, but it supports people that do a good job. So I think that's why I can totally get that you'd embrace that. And looking at business in general, Jeff, what would you say your biggest learnings are about running, growing businesses, and the business world in general?
I think two things um, which contradict each other. Always be nice to everybody, and don't let anyone have you over.
Yep,
And the second statement sounds a little bit defensive.
yep,
Uh, it's not meant to be. I only say it to support the first statement because sometimes saying be nice to everybody can imply that you have a soft underbelly
yeah,
or you're spending too long being a people pleaser. I don't mean that at all. What I mean is really treat people like you would like to be treated yourself.
yep,
And I don't adhere to the word karma, but I do like the principle of karma,
yes,
which is um, over the years, without sounding saintly, because believe me, Chris, I ain't no saint. But over the years, I've done many people many kindnesses without any need for them to feel any loyalty to me or pay me back or anything. That's not why I've done it. They're just at a certain moment in their life they needed a hand up, either financially or just spiritually,
yep,
in a non-religious way, or just they needed some help, like moving house, sitting down, listening to them with a problem in their life, not necessarily work related, all of that stuff. I think if you roll that into a great big untidy bowl and then roll it like it's 6 foot, like a great big snowball, I think that, and keep rolling it throughout your life, I think that your luck, if there is such a thing as luck, your luck follows very quickly behind
yep.
because you're behaving as a good citizen, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I completely agree. I think it's there's lots of phrases around what goes around comes around, and and I think trust is an interesting one. I've always had the principle of um, people. I give trust quite naturally, and you have to earn my distrust rather than earn my trust, if that makes sense. Now, I don't, that has its challenges. And as you say, it's not to say that I'm not being quite clear in monitoring situations, but I would rather naturally trust people than naturally distrust or mistrust people. But yeah, it does come with its challenges. And Jeff, I think you're aware we're a business coaching organisation. I'm keen to know who the best coaches you've worked with, whether that's business, sport, or life in general. Who's had the biggest impact on you?
I would say that a couple of noteworthy people within the industry, um, worthy of mention, would be a guy called Lloyd Hants, who hangs out down in West Sussex.
Right?
He just can't quite give up insurance. He's just an absolutely wonderful man and an inspiration. And he was a boss of mine about 30 years ago, not for very long, but we became firm friends and remain friends now. So
Brilliant.
he would be one. Another guy when I worked for Aviva, a guy
Yep.
called Mark Armitage,
Yep.
um, who hangs around just outside Croydon.
Yep.
Um, he would be instrumental. Once I became a branch manager for Aviva, and not only was he my boss, but he was very, very supportive.
Brilliant.
It's probably the biggest job I had, uh,
Brilliant.
progression-wise at the time in terms of span of control. So
Yep.
he would be good. And then there's a guy who I get involved with monthly, a guy who you might know actually called Andrew Miller.
Right.
Um, yes, Andrew does a sort of a monthly think tank
Yeah. Okay.
uh, with various bunches of people, and it's a subscription service, and you go on and it gives you a theme, um, and the theme is absolutely random in nature, but it gets you thinking for an hour or so,
Brilliant.
and it's like monthly medicine. If you said to me, "How has that helped you?" I could not tell you at all, Chris. I just know that it's good brain food for me.
Yep.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
so they would be three out of many. And again, thank you for asking such a intuitive and penetrating question, because I think that people often don't appreciate the official and unofficial coaches
Yes.
that they have met along the way.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people say, well, I haven't actually had a business coach, but, coaching comes in so many different formats. And it's just that help and advice, the questioning, and just that ability to offload, I think also to people is quite useful. And, and,
Definitely.
and whether it's from the guys you mentioned or anywhere else, Jeff, do you have any favorite quotes or sayings that you catch yourself using on a regular basis?
Um, there's a phrase I'm going to say now that is so means so much to me. I could cry when I say it. The Scottish American philanthropist Andrew Carnegie
Yep.
said, "Show me a person with average ability, but a burning desire to succeed, and I will deliver to you a successful person every time."
Brilliant.
Like
Brilliant.
that.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that a
love that.
lot.
Yeah. It is just that. I think I'm trying to think who said talked about it's not about doing exceptional. What was it? It's not about being an exceptional person doing things. It's about doing exceptional things as an average person, sort of thing. So we just, so it's very similar sort of quotation. And in terms of other education, is there any books or podcasts that you could recommend on business or success in general, Jeff?
Um, Not specifically. It's not something I spend a lot of time looking at. However, in a previous job role, we covered, I wouldn't call it a science, let's call it a methodology of identifying future prospects and getting close to them
Yep.
as an organization
Okay.
by identifying job roles
Yep.
within that company and getting close to them. So that the methodology is by an outfit called Miller Hyman. That's Miller Hyman.
Right.
Um, it's very expensive. Sorry, at the time, very expensive to join as a delegate. But the company invested in me by putting me through that, and
Brilliant.
there is some of it that was here's a technical expression, a complete load of rubbish, um, but packaged as being revolutionary.
Right.
But 90% of it is useful,
Yep.
and I've retained some of the methodologies just in the way that I go about identifying future opportunities.
Yep.
So I've become an adopter of those
Brilliant.
principles over the years, and it's served me well. And big thank you to the company concerned for putting me through that.
Brilliant. Brilliant. And still on the learning theme, what would you say you've learned about yourself throughout your career, Jeff?
Um, probably the most mentally tough person I've ever met.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
I've had some dark days, some terrible dark days. I don't mean from a mental health point of view. I meant in situations I've found myself in
Yep.
over the years. For example, being made redundant a couple of times.
Yep.
Um, Now, with redundancy, it's a strange one because you can feel that once you're told your position's going to be made redundant, you can feel that you've done something wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can feel inadequate. You can feel useless. You can feel on the scrap heap. And
Yep.
what you've got to do once that final decision's taken, what you have to do is every day, uh, your full-time job. is finding another full-time job.
Yes. Yeah.
And so mentally, you've got to be absolutely on the money. So yeah, I would say that mental strength is probably one of my few superpowers.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Yeah, and I find a lot of people talk about resilience in general, and I think it is a key factor, isn't it? It's keeping going. It's keeping going through those dark times because, as you rightly say, because it is, it's easy to give up, isn't it? It's easy to give up and do something else. But I think it's pushing through so key.
I
And
think,
sure,
sorry,
come.
just to build on what you've said
Yeah,
quickly.
yeah,
Yeah, and because I've been through that loop, and again, I'm not obsessing about redundancies. Thankfully, that hasn't happened for, a couple of decades almost,
yes,
but it still stays with me now. Um, but I mentioned earlier helping other people along the way, and some of that help is trying to get them to accelerate going through the process when it's other people who've been made
yeah,
redundant, maintaining their focus towards, well, what are you going to do next? So the
yes,
starting point is, do you want to continue doing what you were doing before? Or is this a signpost where you either need some more coaching, you need some more education, um, or you just need to point in a different direction, or a combination of between one and three of the things I've just said.
yeah. No, that makes loads of sense, absolutely. And I think it's that gives you a step, a step by step process or some options on moving that forward. Brilliant. And looking forward now, Jeff. What does the future look like for you and you guys? And what might be some of the challenges you might face, if any?
Okay, that's an interesting one. So, my wife and I intend to come and live in Spain
Oh, right, great.
permanent, permanently. I'm speaking to you now from Spain.
Oh, brilliant.
So we're out here at the moment. So we have our house here,
Yeah,
and at some point, um, we will be applying for a visa
yeah,
um, to come and live in Spain. And when we come, um, I won't be working anymore. So it's not the intention to continue to work remotely from Spain.
brilliant.
But I'll literally be hanging my boots up from an insurance advising point of view,
Yeah,
um, and then um, various things to do with the house and garden out here. It's a beautiful area that the house is in,
yeah,
and we have three dogs. And my Achilles heel is probably dogs.
yeah.
Um, I love dogs. So unfortunately, the Spaniards don't see dogs as pets. They just see them as things. So
Right,
they're terribly badly treated.
right. Yeah,
So thankfully, there are dog sanctuaries. So my intention is at some point in the future, when retired, I will hopefully volunteer at a dog sanctuary. I think
brilliant.
that would make me happy, and it's food for the soul.
Brilliant. Love it. Oh, well, best of luck with all of that. That sounds wonderful.
Thank you.
And I'm keen to know what you say to anyone that's thinking of going into business right now.
Business per se or insurance business?
Um, yeah, well, maybe insurance business, given your expertise and experience in it.
Okay, I would say the exams are painful to take, but the minute that you can take your exams because you'll never, it's a bit controversial, you'll never ever really have to call upon a large part of what you learn with your exams, but linked to the compliance piece, having your exam qualification um, adds to your credibility when working in a regulated environment as we do.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yeah, that makes
Yeah,
makes
yeah,
perfect sense.
yeah. So that would be one thing.
Yep.
The second thing would be uh, going all the way back to a 16-year-old me, um, I never asked anyone I worked with who was more experienced than I. I never ever asked anybody for advice
Right.
to the point where I was quite shy.
Yep.
And um, if I think if I'd asked anybody for advice, they would go, "Yeah, sure, pull a chair up and let's go through it." Um, but similarly, back in the day, no one said, "Let me give you some advice. Let me show you how to do X."
Yep.
So I think for a new entrant into the industry, do not be shy in asking others for advice.
Yep.
Um, get into that rhythm, uh, get into that good habit early. I think that would lend itself to
Brilliant.
helping that person. Say there were five or six people, broadly peers, and one of them was the person who was always asking questions, always asking for guidance. It's a two-sided thing to look at
Yes.
it. On one side, you can go, "Oh, that person's weak. They're
Yep.
always asking questions. They're always asking for advice." But that person, as well as absorbing information like a sponge, that person is going to get into the head of the more senior people within that insurance business.
Yep.
And when a promotion um, opens up, um, I would like to think that that person is more considered than the other people who just, "I get to work at 5 to 9, I leave at 1 minute past 5." Now, again, without disappearing down a rabbit hole, we both know, Chris, don't we, that it's not about the hours you work.
No.
It's about what you know
Yeah.
and the value that you bring.
Yes.
Um, so again, I'm not obsessing about the hours. It's absolutely fine for someone to come in at 5 to 9 and go
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
minute after 5. Of course it is. But if the person does that, but doesn't have any, my words, spark or something about them,
Yeah. I get you.
then in 3 or 4 years' time, if they haven't moved on within the job role that they're in, and they look in the mirror, they've probably got quite a lot to do with it themselves, I would have thought.
Yes. Yep. That makes sense. It makes absolute perfect sense. Um, Wonderful. And final question: what's the best advice you could give an 18-year-old you if you could go back in time and do that, Jeff?
Wow. Hardest question asked. Um, I think I would say the temptation to job hop for just, what does just mean? It can mean a lot of things. For just a few £100 is not worth the risk. So what I mean by that is that between the ages of 16 and 25, I think I'd had four jobs. Now, big deal. Actually, these days, Chris, that's actually quite good.
Yes, absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
quite good. But I think that if I'd stayed with at least one of those companies for a longer period of time, I think I would have wound a road that may well have led to where I am now, but it might have led there either quicker or with more pay and rations.
Yeah. Yeah. That I get that. It's an interesting one, isn't it? It's it's double-edged sword, I think, in many ways, isn't it? You don't really
Very
know
much.
the other way. Well, Jeff, it's been fascinating talking to you and really delightful too. And I really thank you for your openness and for sharing so much about your knowledge of yeah of building a career, building working in insurance and all the things you've learned. And for anyone that'd like to get in touch with you or Lantern, what would be the best way of doing that?
Um, it's really three ways to do that. Um, First one would be look me up on LinkedIn.
Yep,
Second one would be to telephone me. Can I give my number?
please do.
0777847 666. And my email address, it's not complicated, but I'll not give it here. Um, but you can find me through social media, I would have thought, particularly LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, yeah, we'll see if we can share the details on the post. But well, Jeff, thank you so much for your time today, and it'd be great to catch up again in another 6, 12 months to just see maybe from Spain and you're already fully retired. But just for now, thank you so much for your time.
And you for yours. It's been a pleasure, Chris. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.